Today we're here with Ron. He's a licensed coach of ours. We're going to talk about Ron's journey from starting in insurance and working his way up to owning a brokerage and having the exit everybody dreams about. We're going to talk about why acquisitions are important, what to look for when acquiring a business, and actually we're going to look at the statistics, how many businesses he's looked at versus how many businesses he actually wants to buy, where he wants to go with helping other people do the exact same thing that he's doing now, and why having a toolbox with the right tools is more important than having motivation to get somewhere.
I'm Dennis.
And I'm Greg.
And this is the More Profit, Less Stress podcast,
where we provide the tools for more profit and less stress in your business now so you can turn into a valuable asset later. Welcome to the More Profit, Less Stress podcast. My name is Greg Forzani. I'm here with Dennis Takema, and our guest today is Ron Farrell. Welcome, my man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Exciting because our background together is kind of interesting how it intertwined. You live in Alberta. Anyway, it's kind of cool because we'll get you to kind of get into your background. So you had an insurance brokerage, which you sold, and you'll get into that. And then I think probably towards the end of that, you started doing business coaching.
I did.
And we know lots of the same people, and that kind of got us connected. And yeah, it's cool. Super excited to have you here. So maybe start with insurance brokerage.
How'd you
What
get
got you into
involved?
that? What did that look like? Like, why'd you do an insurance brokerage?
Okay. Well, that's interesting because originally I was looking to get into banking way back when I was about 21, 22.
Well, they
out
say
of
that's where the
school.
money is.
Right. Yeah. That's where it's stored.
That's where it's stored. It's not where it's paid to the staff for sure. So I got looking around, probably dropped off 150 resumes or something like that. And,
In the banking industry.
In the banking industry.
It's a lot of banks.
Oh, goodness.
It's like trying to get a loan.
And
Right.
ultimately, a friend of mine contacted me. He had a brokerage up in Airdrie and asked me to come and join his team. So I went through the licensing and got hired on and was with him for a couple of years. But I'd always had in the back of my mind, at least after I left the idea of the banking, that I wanted to own my own business. It was just one of those things that it wasn't from my history. My parents weren't business owners. My grandfather was. And I just saw the opportunities there. So it was always my intention to own my own business before the age of 30.
Oh, wow.
So then you came on as a partner or just as a rep?
Actually, I left that company entirely when worked for somebody else that I knew. And about 3 or 4 years after I started with him, I got looking at purchasing another brokerage. It did get back to the person I was working for, and he says, "Why don't you buy me out?"
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. Can I see your financials? When I came into the office the next morning, the financials were on my desk.
He was that interested in getting out.
He was that interested in getting
Wow.
out. Yeah.
What was his motive for leaving, though?
He'd been in the insurance industry for 10 or 15 years and was simply not excited about the business any longer.
So his way out was your way in.
It was. It really worked out well.
And
What year was that, roughly?
I bought the brokerage in 2003.
Okay.
you ran that for
Sold in 2025.
so
22
22 years?
Almost 23 years, yes.
Wow.
here I am being bad with the mental math, but yeah, 22
Yeah.
years. So did you see any big changes in the insurance industry? Like what happened? Why'd you get out?
I saw some pretty dramatic changes, actually, because it wasn't a matter of whether I was making money or not. To be fair, I was actually making pretty decent profit
Yeah.
in my business, better than most, I would think.
So what do you mean by better than most? Like better than most businesses or better than most brokerages?
I would say both.
Okay, so brokerage isn't like this license to print money. It's something you had to.
Well, it can
Still.
be. It can be if you know what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
I was running low 40s or high 30%.
I actually thought he was
profit.
lying the whole time. When we met, he kept saying, my net profit percent's this. I'm like, no, it's probably your gross margin, or you haven't calculated in your fair market wage, or like, I'm like, it's, yeah, sure, but I know it's not true. And turned out it was true.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like an average for the brokerage industry, or is that just something you
No.
built into it?
The brokerages that I've looked at outside of that were running 20 or 25, which when you look at business as a whole, really
good.
good profits.
Yeah.
For that, I was significantly higher.
So there's things you did to get it there?
There was some things that I did. And the interesting thing about that is I never had any training.
Hmm.
The person I bought from did stay on for about, nearly 6 years, actually.
Oh, wow.
So mentored a little bit from that perspective. But again, he wasn't business trained either.
So what did he say when I'm assuming he realized the business was getting more profitable. And by more profitable, it isn't always more dollars. Yes, it's more dollars, but it was actually higher performing. Like your profit percent was better and the dollars were going up. So how'd that go?
To be fair, that didn't happen until after he left.
Oh, so he didn't see the progress at the
Okay.
time. For him, it was just another brokerage and kind of mentoring you along the way.
There was some significant challenges early in my ownership. One of our markets decided to cancel their contract with us. So there was some challenges in getting through that and the retention that was lost along the way from that perspective. There was some staffing issues that I didn't necessarily know how to navigate as well as I should have at the time.
Right.
And so, yeah, most of the increase in the profit percentage came long after he had left.
Okay. And was his profit percent good when you bought it?
It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
It was, when I say it's pretty decent, it was enough to fund the acquisition loan.
Oh, okay.
And pay myself a fair market salary. That's something that I've seen a lot lately. I've been looking at a number of businesses for acquisition, and many of them, when you get into the financials, if you're going to leverage the acquisition cost with a loan, it doesn't have the cash flow to support the loan.
Right.
So you're backwards the moment you buy.
You really are.
Yeah.
So the brokerage wasn't that situation. The
No.
margins were there that were not. So what do you find that you did inside of that brokerage that really put you in that top 1 percentile of brokerages? I mean, coming from no business
Without giving
background.
away
the secret sauce. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that there is no secret sauce. I didn't know what the secret sauce was at the time, and making good decisions as somebody that can budget a family balance. Well, if I'm going to spend this, is it going to bring that much or more back in to the company? Every decision was based on what the return on investment for the dollar spent was.
Right. Which that in itself is smart.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that think that way.
No.
They just go spend and hope it comes back in.
One of the biggest challenges that I had, particularly with that industry, because nobody wants to talk about insurance, is marketing it. And I've had several different companies come to me and say, well, you should advertise with us. You should do this. You should do that. And ultimately, I believe I coined a phrase back at the time. Likely not, but we talked about accountable advertising.
Yeah.
I'm asking for you to be accountable for the return that you bring to my business. And if you're not, and this gets into your marketing tool.
Yeah.
And just tracking what your return on each individual investment is.
And what a novel idea, right? I could invest in each of these marketing strategies. Which ones am I making? Which ones am I getting a return on? Stop doing the ones you aren't. Do more of the ones you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of marketing companies don't even talk that way.
No.
It's kind of scary.
No, they just throw the leads and say everything else is your fault.
Yeah.
Well, and the reality is they look at revenue numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, if you spend $100, you're going to get $100 back in revenue. Well, that doesn't do me any good if my profit percentage is 30 or 40%. I need,
or like most companies,
250 in revenue to break even.
Yeah.
To break even.
Yes.
Yeah. So you started doing what you would claim to be at the time common sense math.
That's what I thought it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And then you realize probably later how uncommon that thought process is.
That's the problem with common sense. It's not so common anymore.
So then
True.
you built that up over a period of 22 years.
Yes.
And so we've talked about this before. Like some people go, well, if it's going so well and things are doing so well, why would you sell? So I'll ask that question flat out. If things are going so well and you're doing so well, why would you sell?
Really good question. What I get down to is when we go through our program, we do a SWOT analysis as one of the exercises with our clients.
Right.
But there's an extra T on that for trends. And the reality is the trend in the industry was that all small brokerages were being sold to consolidators. If you didn't have the adequate volume for insurance companies, then you had no negotiation power. You were at risk of market cancellation and so many other things, not to mention the fact that the way insurance companies treated both their clients and their brokers was, in my mind, malicious. And that's
hard.
That's an ethical issue for me. I can't get behind that sort of activity.
Yeah.
So I chose to pay attention to the trends, get out while I had an asset left to sell, and find something that I was more passionate about that fit my ethics a little bit better. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So this wasn't one of those things where you just like left the key in the door and walked away.
My goodness, no. No, that would not
I have
be.
ethics, but I'm a capitalist.
You can be an ethical capitalist. It is a thing.
Absolutely, for
Yes,
sure.
you can.
That's good.
So then were you acquired by one of those big consolidation firms then?
I actually was, yes. They had 450 offices across Canada,
Oh, wow.
something like 4,500 or 5,000 employees. Their volume in insurance dollars was about 4 billion in
Wow.
premium revenue. So yeah, significantly larger than I was.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then they pay, I'm going to assume then because the way it was running, they just paid you bottom dollar and you got out.
Oh, of course. If 11 times EBITDA is
Yeah,
bottom dollar.
let's qualify the bottom dollar thing.
I was being sarcastic. So, like, because one of the things we talk about a lot in the podcast is what's the exit plan? If you're going to build this thing, you got to build it into an investment that pays you while you're alive or running the business. I guess the business is alive. And then when you want out, you got to be able to capitalize that return. Otherwise, you've wasted your entire time. So, yeah, my question was tongue in cheek because I know your story and I know that you didn't just walk away from the thing or negotiate a break-even price to run away. They were actually willing to pay you a premium for it.
They did. They paid me a premium because we were well run. I had a really, really good team behind me, good marketing strategies. Yeah,
You built a system.
it was worthwhile for them to take us on. Yeah.
And it's kind of a cool story because knowing you so far, and I'm assuming you were like this before we met, it seems like you had the end goal in mind the whole time.
I did.
Yeah.
The day I bought my business, I had done some projections, figured out what I wanted for gross revenue growth at the time. I wasn't thinking profit.
Right.
Mhm.
And, I said, 15 or 20 years, I want to sell for 4 times what I paid for the business.
Right.
As it turned out, it was 7.5 times what I
Nice.
paid for the business. So it worked out even better.
Well, it's hard to find that kind of return on capital anywhere in the market outside of building your own thing properly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And if you can probably share a couple things, like, so you knew you wanted to sell for more than you paid for it, obviously. So you had exit plan in mind.
I did.
You knew that with exit plan, there's a multiplier. And just get into maybe sharing, what were you thinking about that? Like, okay, I got to not only increase my revenue, I got to increase my net profit percent, which you definitely did that. But I also want to increase my multiplier. So it's kind of cool, right? I got to increase revenue. That's going to increase the price. I got to increase net profit percent of that revenue. That's going to compound that profit. But then I got to do something to increase the multiplier. So what are some of the things you focused on to, again, without giving the special sauce away, but how'd you get the net profit percent up and how'd you get the multiplier up? What are some of the things you focused on?
before you answer that, for those that are listening, the multiplier is the net profit that you make from the company multiplied by a number, how systemized you are and how market desirable you are. So otherwise people also call the multiplier
Right.
goodwill. What's my goodwill worth after assets, after everything else? So what we're asking here is how much were you wanting for the goodwill by the time the business was done and what it led to that number?
Well, Dennis, to be fair, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that for the first 15 of my 20-some years.
Totally fair.
I just wanted to increase the top line.
Yeah.
I thought that was the answer.
But that's a good story, right?
That's where
People
everybody
to
aims.
understand. Yeah.
And that was true for the first 15, maybe 17 years of owning that business. And yes, I was working on building that top line multiplier, top line revenue. The profit increased simply because I was making smart investment decisions
Right.
within who I'm hiring, what I'm paying them, what advertising I'm doing, things like that. It was almost accidental, but not really. It's only been in the last 5 to 7 years that multiplier actually came into the thought
Right.
process.
Right.
It didn't come in right from the beginning.
It comes at a certain age in life. It's like, I want
No,
to exit, and then
it actually comes in a
exit.
certain level of education.
Oh yeah, true enough.
Honestly, I didn't know how to value a business.
Right.
Not when I bought. I knew that the going rate was an X times multiple of revenue in our industry, not of net profit. And I was basing my valuation off of what the industry said it should have been.
Right.
I didn't know how to get into figuring out what your profit is, how systemized you were. That came probably in the last 5 to 7 years of business ownership there.
So chasing revenue first. So who taught you about the multipliers? Where'd you learn that?
Well, to be fair, Greg and I met likely about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it actually wasn't when we started working together with the insurance brokerage.
Right.
I was looking at with my spouse a franchise
Yep.
to purchase, and you were the coach for the franchisor.
Yep.
So she put us in touch and learned a lot from that.
And Ron's like, I make 40%, and I'm like, fuck, right. Turned out to be true.
It did turn out to be true. Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
So yeah, I mean, that's really when my education into business started. Even though we didn't start working together again for
Right.
another 2 years after that, I don't believe. I started thinking differently about business and looking at a lot of different things, standard operating procedures, putting in checklists, creating playbooks, doing all of those things that look good to a purchaser.
So a couple of conversations changed the perspective. That perspective altered your actions. Those actions changed your final result.
Well, just a conversation's not going to do much, is it?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
No, there's some work that you have to put in behind the scenes for sure.
Right.
But I mean, we joke about that, but I think that's a bit of a, I don't know what the word is, maybe addiction with business owners, where it's like, go to a seminar, watch a TED Talk, read a book, take a course, whatever it might be. And, to the point, they talk about it, they think about it, but they don't do anything a lot of times.
Yeah.
So the difference was you just went out and did it. And then you start to figure it out.
Well, I sort of did it. I tried things. Some of them didn't work.
Yeah.
We hired our own in-house marketing person, and that turned out not to be as successful as we'd hoped.
But how quick did you make that decision? I remember that you did it, and then how quick did you make the decision it wasn't working?
3.5 months.
Like, for the listener, think about that. You made a decision, because I remember you're like, I need a marketing person, and it makes sense. Agree, right? Do it, try it, test stuff, change isn't working. 3.5 months later, you undid the decision. How many, I got goosebumps. How many business owners are willing to make that tough decision that quickly, right? If the numbers truly are showing it's not working.
I got to tell you, it's so hard to let somebody go if that's what the answer is, because we think about what they have in terms of responsibilities.
Yep.
That's not our responsibility. As a business owner, we need to provide good training, good and fair compensation, great place to work, and every possibility for success. But it's ultimately up to that employee to make that work.
I remember you're making me think. So my Uncle John was the founder of Forzani Group, Sport Check, whatever. So I remember I had to, in our company, I had to get rid of somebody who was a high role, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so hard because of everything you just said.
Yeah.
And he actually looked at me and said, you're being selfish. And I was just like, no, I don't think you understood why I was saying I didn't want to get rid of them, right? Like I'm thinking in their best interest. He's like, no, you're being selfish. And I'm like, okay, you got to explain this to me. And he said, because they're going to find something successful at some point in their life. They're going to find it, and you're holding them back. And it just completely changed my perspective. I was like, whoa, that's a powerful thought, but it's a super hard thing to do, right?
It
Because
really
you
is.
care. Absolutely. Yeah.
I sold life insurance for a while, and I realized at the time there's massive levels of compliance
Yeah.
with life insurance of things you can and can't say in marketing. So how do you figure out what works and what doesn't work?
You're not wrong about the compliance, whether it's marketing or what you can do in addition to the products that you're selling. There's the compliance is over the top, really. I don't know that that was the reason that this person didn't work out. I think ultimately what it came down to is her experience was with another type of business, another type of service, and she wanted to basically fit me into that box
Right.
and only wanted to promote that type of marketing and didn't want to look at anything new. Didn't understand the return on investment with marketing dollars, or like we talked about earlier this week, the budgeted cost of acquisition as opposed to just spend the money and see what happens.
And she probably comes from a background where that was never taught to her, right? Back
It
to your
wouldn't have been.
education piece. Yeah. And then they get stuck in a box of, no, it's got to be this. That's a big learning lesson, I think, for all businesses and all marketing companies. Absolutely.
Well, the job of marketing shouldn't be to increase revenue. It should be to increase net profit in general.
Yeah.
But I don't think most marketing companies approach it that way. And most people that hire marketing companies don't approach it that way.
Yeah.
That's a lesson that nobody's teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, let's go back. You still got the insurance company. So how many years ago did you start coaching?
I started coaching about 2 years ago. So
Okay.
this was about 18 months prior to selling the brokerage.
Okay. And was that because something was like, what got you into that? Was that something you were setting up? Hey, I might sell my brokerage, so I want to get something going, or was it something where I got a passion for this? Like what?
To be honest, I've been thinking about getting out of the insurance industry for five years or longer.
Right.
And I had looked multiple times at where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And going back to where I'm passionate about or what I'm passionate about, I've always had this passion for business. And I also understand that all businesses have the basic foundation that remains the same.
Right.
So applying that to somebody new or a new business or helping somebody to create that in their own business was something that I was really excited about. There's a saying that tides raise all ships.
You say that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Water should float all boats.
Yes. Yeah. So helping somebody else succeed is not going to suppress another person or another business.
That's cool. So it sounds like you were thinking it may be your next career once you get out of insurance.
I did think that,
Okay.
yes.
So now,
Okay, but there's that thing though, because I know, Greg knows, we know what you sold for,
Yes.
and it's a nice number.
It is.
It's a nice number, and that's what everybody hopes for when they sell. They want that nice number, whatever that number is. It's a nice number, which means I don't have to do anything after I get this number.
Correct.
Which means my life is set up after I get this number. But then you went, no, I'm gonna keep going and doing stuff where most people just hang up the skates and say, well, I've played enough.
Well, to be fair, that nice number still fell short of my target.
yeah.
And of course, the target changes
Right.
every year as you achieve one goal. You move the goalpost basically and go for something new. But to be fair, I'm too young to retire. I don't want to sit at home reading the newspaper, drinking a coffee. I want to do something. I want to get out there, enjoy, help people.
And that's probably the thing there. It's the help people part. You
Yeah.
realize how much it sort of energizes you and gives you a sense of purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Well, in so many ways, acting selfishly is lonely. Once you've hit all your narcissistic impulses, what's left? And like there's an old passage in the Bible that says it's more blessed to give than to receive. And when you actually start going out there and giving and doing and being, you actually realize how much more fulfillment it gives than just, you said read the newspaper, but I'm thinking more like flipping reels on social media.
Right.
Because that's the
I
new
guess
newspaper.
I'm still a little old school.
So then you got into coaching in a way before you decided to hang up the skates in the insurance industry. Is that because people requested the service of you, or you found a reason for it?
No one was asking me to help, but I knew that I could.
Right.
And I knew enough people that could use some help that I really wanted to get out there and make it work for them.
Right. So if you're out there making it work for them, why would you? Because you recently went through our training. You recently went through and got the whole instruction book on how to do this. You were already doing it. Why go get the instruction book?
Well, to be fair, because you guys are not a coaching company, you're an educator. And that makes all the difference in the world. And you've got some tools that building those myself would have taken years to do. And I didn't want to just pat people on the back and say, how you doing?
Or try to
How you feeling?
reinvent something?
Yeah,
What do you think you should do for your next
Yeah.
step? And I'll hold your hand.
exactly.
But that's it. Yeah. This is a hot spot for me. I think if someone owns a business, they're entrepreneurial minded, like they're right. It's in their DNA,
Yeah.
and they want to succeed. They're most likely, most of them are going to become really good at their product or service. And that's awesome. They help customers. That's awesome. But they don't need someone to say, so how you feeling? What do you think about that? What they want is like,
What
show
are
me
your
how I
next
got to
steps?
succeed. Yeah. What do I got to do to succeed? Give me the instruction booklet. Give me because they're a race car ready to go.
Well, you don't want your surgeon to ask, or your surgeon's
I watched
trainer.
I'd watched 2 YouTube videos before your heart surgery,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
got this figured out.
or his trainer or teacher being, so what do you think you should do next
Right.
when your life's on the line?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
No,
And with the business, it is a life on the line, right?
exactly.
For most people, they can lose their house. They can lose retirement possibilities.
They
They
do.
lose. Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge deal.
No, there's some things that asking them how they feel are not going to fix. And you need education. This stuff doesn't come naturally for most. I mean,
Yeah. it's
somehow
true.
I figured it out. But
But it doesn't, right?
Well,
It
but a
doesn't
part of
come
it was
naturally.
also you became a client of the program.
I did.
For a period of time. So you got a chance to, we've used the analogy before, but pop the hood, look inside, see how the tools start to work, see how it all starts to flow. And so I think for you, it almost sounds like the next logical best step was, if I can use this and apply it to what I've got, I can probably take this and apply it to what they've got.
Exactly. And it's not just others. This isn't my only source of revenue right now. I'm buying other businesses.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. They say those that can't do teach.
Right.
Well, I don't want to be that person.
No.
I want to be doing it.
Yeah.
I want to be in the trenches with them.
Well, people forget the other side of that. That's not that everybody who does can teach either.
That's
So
true.
it's like
Yeah.
you got that combination of side of it. And you said that before the podcast, you wanted to discuss that a lot more, the acquisition side of things. So what's the opportunity you found there?
Well, interestingly enough, again, long before I sold my brokerage, I was looking at opportunities to buy other businesses. So I looked at hundreds of teasers, of which I probably looked at dozens of SIMs, confidential information memorandums. And I ultimately have only put in 4 letters of intent as a result of all of the things that I found throughout those.
Sorry, 4 in total, including the 2 you're buying now, or 4 before?
Including the 2 that I'm buying now.
Holy crap. Okay.
So, yeah, 50% success on that is not.
No, but out of like 100 or hundreds.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
like,
that's a couple percentage point on everything
Yeah.
you looked at. So
Well, and the reality is these are the ones that have been vetted by business owners to be marketable, to hopefully sell for more than the value of their assets. So hundreds of those, and we're down to 4 that I had any interest in.
So what made you have interest in those 4?
Well, ultimately, there was already a positive net profit after a fair market value. Going back to what I said earlier, they had cash flow that would support a leveraged loan
right.
on the purchase, and there was some systems in place. In fact, one of those clients was coached by Greg, went through this program, and the multiple that I'm looking at paying that for that business is twice the multiple that I'm looking at paying for the other business that I'm looking at right now.
So for anybody listening, I want you to think about that for a second. He's looked at hundreds of businesses that are for sale. Call it 100 businesses that are for sale. Of that, 4 were of interest.
Worth looking, yeah.
So that's 4%.
Yeah.
That's 96% that are no's. So if you're looking at selling the business one day, that's a massive the odds that goes back to support the whole what percentages of businesses never actually sell for a profit down the road. And you're looking at going, okay, and I'm risk analysing these 4, and I've narrowed it down to 2. So that's a 98% no rate.
Yeah.
So think of all those people who thought that they were going to do this thing and sell this thing, and the answer is no.
I'm sitting here just shaking my head because the statistic you just gave matches the exact statistic we've studied.
Yeah.
Which is 90 to 95% of businesses
don't sell,
fail, we'll say, which means close or go bankrupt eventually. So then and they say only around 4.5% actually sell. So that matches your 4 out of 100.
Yeah.
And they say only 2.5% sell for more than the asset value, which is what you're looking for.
Right.
So that your number actually
lines up perfectly with the research.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
Wow. Right. That's a telling tale. And then I love, and it's not to self-promote our program. It's to say that you're validating the point that the 2 you narrowed it down to, you paid double multiplier for the one that was the most predictable, like the most systemized. You knew that's a safe bet.
Best net profit, systems in place, playbooks in place, really well run. Staff bought into the program.
Right.
It's not something that the owner does on his own as an island.
Right.
The team becomes a part of this education program.
Crazy validation, man. Holy crap. So, okay, so you're going through, actually, I got one other weird question just on what you're saying.
Okay.
Just for an average person to understand, business owners are hopefully the ones listening to this podcast, but from what you're going through now, and you said it's great to buy a business that cash flows the loan.
Yes.
So in a case like that, if you can find a business that cash flows a loan, if you're to ballpark a guess here from your experience, what % does the bank want down? So business is selling for $1 million, whatever.
Okay.
How much of that do they want down if they feel like and agree the business will cash flow the loan?
So their number is 70%.
They want 70%
They want
secured or down?
No, they will loan up to
loan to 70%.
They'll loan up to 70%. But here's the interesting thing that I found out through this process. They will loan up to 70% of a 2.5 time multiple.
Okay.
So interestingly enough, if you built a business that's systemized, that's got higher net profit, that should be going for a 4 times multiple, they're still using that 2.5% or 2.5 times multiple.
Really?
They don't understand that all businesses are not created
So
equal.
that's the fight you're sort of having right now with one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the banks are in the position of risk management. So if you look at the overall consensus of what they're investing in, they know the failure rate.
Mm-hmm.
If the failure rate was low, they'd offer up to 90% because they know it's a guaranteed ROI. They're looking at this going, yeah, Ron says this is all good. The numbers say it's all good, but if he's wrong, I got to liquidate this thing and make back my capital.
Right.
So I get their frustration. They don't ever want to be in a situation where they're backwards.
And 95% and higher than 95% of acquirers don't have the education that we teach.
Yeah.
And so then
they don't have the same possibility for success.
Right.
Well, we've seen that. We've seen people come in and buy up a business that's a sure thing and then turn around and run it into the ground.
Yep.
Because they don't have the acumen that are behind it. They go, well, I saw somebody on Facebook talk about you're going to become a billionaire by buying up businesses, and of course I'm just going to make this automatic return the moment I buy them because I'm so good at what I do. It's just a business, and then they just start tanking because there's no acumen behind it. So a bank's looking at all that and going, well, maybe we're just going to hedge a bit more here.
And they're not used to it.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Bank's not used to seeing that, right?
They're like, oh, it's a write-off. And that drives me mad, honestly, because, if you're being taxed at 20%, that means that to get $20 savings in taxes, you had to spend $100.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't get that.
Right. I'm spending money I don't have to save taxes I don't want to pay and putting myself in a worse situation.
Yeah.
So then, sorry, just to recap that, you're saying from your experience, you're seeing banks will lend up to 70% of a 2.5 multiplier on profit.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for people to know.
Don't know about the U.S. market, but that's definitely a Canadian.
US, they have those corner door places. It says loan shark.
Legal loan shark.
Yeah, right. No, it's good to know. That's interesting. Okay, so sold the business. You're buying 2 businesses.
And getting into coaching.
Yeah, and well, expanding, I guess, the coaching.
Yeah.
So before we get into expanding the coaching and getting like licensing with us, I know we've already talked a little bit about this, but is there anything else you can add to, like, this whole exit plan thing is big for us. This is what we all love to talk about, and you're doing it.
Yes.
And you're living it. So is there something else you can share to really kind of drive the point home so people really understand?
A couple of things on that then, Greg. Number one, from the seller of one of these businesses, I've been referred to as the due diligence guy.
Yeah.
So
well, that's a shitty name to have. I want to do my due diligence.
No, I want the buyer who doesn't do his research. You're slowing me down here, Ron.
Well, to be fair, this is the one that's gone through your program, and he's okay with me doing due diligence because he's confident with what he's built.
Right.
Whereas the other business that I'm looking at, they're taking forever to get me what I've asked.
Wait, you want to look under that tarp? No.
Oh my God, no.
I can show you this box, but we don't look in that box. Why not? We just don't look in that box.
No. So back to your question about anything else that I would like to say. What I'm looking at here, because we talk about exits, and exits are absolutely everything. But when you look at it from a leverage perspective, so now I'm putting in 30, maybe 35% of the purchase of that business. If I can pay that off in 5 to 7 years, which is the intention, increase the profit and increase the revenue, systemize the business, I expect to sell that business for roughly 3 to 5 times my purchase price, but not my investment. It's a 10-time return on my investment.
It's doing
For
the
the
math.
listener, that's the way you got to think going into it. And when you own it. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Well, and like I said, nobody enters it going, I can't wait to be bankrupt and leave my family on the street one day.
Right.
It's a byproduct of not knowing how to plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Greg was telling me before that part of the objective of what you're trying to do is, okay, once I get these things acquired, I can put a general manager in place and run them through the exact program that helped you sell the other business.
Yes. And I wouldn't just put a general manager in place. I would get them to buy into the business.
Right.
Give them a chance to experience those returns for themselves. Because then when I own a portion of it and they own a portion, I get the upside, but they're also motivated and disciplined to follow the program so that they get the upside too.
Yeah. Brilliant. It's a great idea. Absolutely. Okay. So then you're wanting to, so you're buying businesses, which is awesome. I think it's great. And you're wanting to expand the coaching business. And you're actually the one that reached out to me. You're the one that told me before I even mentioned you were thinking about maybe doing this and said, hey, you're looking at franchising your program.
That was a conversation we had about 2 years
totally.
ago. Like, so I got this coaching thing. You got some tools I want.
Yeah.
So what made you pick this program, this group, this?
Back to that comment I made a few minutes ago. You're not a coaching company. You're an educator.
Yeah.
You bring in tools. You show us how to do it. It works. There's real solid results that come out of this program. And that's what I want for my clients.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to sell their business for something, have an asset at the end of the day that's not just their house.
What would you say to a business owner that says, well, Ron, that's great. You were lucky. My business is different. My industry is different. You don't understand my situation. What would you say to them?
Well, you've got to be good to be lucky, first off.
Yeah,
the reality is, I don't know that there is a business out there that's obviously not treading water that can't benefit from a program like this. There's just so many things that people have never been taught that make a lot of sense. But again, back to our comment about common sense not being so common anymore.
Right.
There's no real education program. Somebody asked me this week, well, wouldn't you hire somebody with an MBA?
I was there when you got asked that question.
No, I'm not sure that I would, because even that is not the kind of education that helps you succeed in business.
Yeah.
It's a lot of middle management education, but it's also in defense of an MBA. Let's say it is great education. The problem with the MBA education is by the time you're ready to use it, you've forgotten most of it. And now you're in the real world. And did you ever take the academics of it seriously before getting the title? Like there's something a lot different about being in the trenches and getting the tools as you need them versus having a toolbox you forget which wrench goes where.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'd be curious with an MBA. I didn't do that.
Me either.
So I can't. I'm just asking a question here to the world, but I'd be curious does an MBA come at it maybe from more of a tax perspective? Like not to think taxes, but do they analyze financials more from a tax perspective in their teaching versus from a operational make money perspective? I'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall and see that. I don't know.
I haven't met a lot of people with MBAs, but everyone I have works for somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not off doing their own thing.
Yeah. They're in upper management. They're getting paid $250,000 a year to tell other people what to do.
Yeah.
But they're not making the financial decisions that affect the profit line.
Yeah. Maybe not understanding what they got to implement to affect those numbers.
Oh, nobody knows that.
Well, we do.
Well, you do.
But that's the key, right? It's less about, like, it's great to look at a number, and I know you're a numbers guy, so it's great to look at numbers, but you got to make decisions, and we talked about it earlier in the podcast, but then you got to implement something. You got to do something. You got to
do it.
And you got to add it to your routine. Like, it stacks.
It reminds me of the old joke of the business owner hiring an accountant to come in the office, and he puts his financials on the table and says to the first interviewee, "What do the numbers say?" And he gives him this long-winded answer, and he calls the next guy and says, "What do the numbers say?" Gets the third guy, and the third guy looks at the owner and says, "What do you want them to say?" Right? That's how most people approach the tax conversation.
Right.
Operations, you can't do that.
Mhm.
Operations, it's what do they actually say? And the joke goes, that guy got the job. But in operations, the numbers, what they actually say matters for the decisions that you make.
Yeah.
And I often wonder how deep MBAs do go into that.
Yeah.
Well, back to the financial statements, though. I don't know many business owners that don't look at that as just a report card.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even how to look at it.
Well, true, but really they're saying, okay, I got a D this year. They're not looking
Maybe next year will be better.
they're not looking at what they mean and how they can change it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said I read the financials from the bottom up. Start with profit, and I know that's a book, and I haven't read that book.
Me neither. I haven't either.
But ultimately, if you build in your profit, it's no different than David Chilton's exercise to pay yourself first, but as a business, and he applies it to personal finances.
The idea of the profit is the goal, not the revenue. And I've had that conversation with clients too. It's, hey man, my revenue's up this month over last month. That's great. What's the bottom line? Is the bottom number up? Well, no, it's not. Okay, well then we got to reevaluate why your top number went up, but your bottom number.
So you bought that truck that you always wanted, right?
Right. I finally put that on because it's a write-off.
Yeah.
I remember I got into a conversation with somebody in the pet food business. So on this thing we're talking about right now, and I was always focused on what percent are we making on that bag. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, I want to make $10 a bag. And I'm like, okay, let me throw an analogy at you. I said, if you're a home builder, do you want to be a home builder selling $10 million homes making $100,000 a house? Or do you want a home builder selling $1 million homes making $100,000 a house? Like, that's a really easy thing to go, oh, I want that one. But a lot of business owners don't think that way when it comes to and that's where that percentage thing comes into play. It's crazy.
You're not wrong.
And that's what he was talking about before with the brokerage, right? Everything I do better have an ROI, and it better be a maximized ROI. Otherwise, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
So acquisitions became the thing. Not hiring MBA is a thing. You're looking for a manager to kind of come in that you can teach the program to, who wants skin in the game for that business to kind of, I'm going to assume, so that way you can put your fingers in more pies and keep acquiring more.
That's the intention, yes, to build up a portfolio of businesses that are all profitable. And honestly, it's just a little bit more spreading the risk.
Mhm.
If that one fails, all my eggs aren't in that basket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I know you've done this math because I've done it, but I'm sure, like, so you sell your insurance business. Arguably, you could take that and put it in like the stock market or some other investment, right?
Yes.
But I'm positive, knowing you the way I do, you've crunched the numbers and said, well, where am I going to get the best return? So you decided business. Just walk us through that a little bit.
So I've looked at this in several things. I've looked at it in real estate, actually commercial real estate acquisition, which is likely going to come as a result of one of these business purchases.
Right.
And, I did run the numbers on that, and comparing to, say, a 7.5% return that you're going to get sort of predictively through the stock market
Right.
when you take into consideration the leveraging, time value of money, and the capital asset growth. I'm looking at about a 22% return on the real estate. Now, when I'm looking at these businesses, it's more than just capital appreciation, because there's the profit percentage increase and the multiple increase, and that becomes more like a 40%
Yeah.
return.
Same money, different vehicle, better
Yeah.
return, but you know how to drive the vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing. The number you just spit out, that's a real, I crunched the numbers, came in the same range, 40 to, penny what you buy if you get a
Yeah.
deal, but yeah, 40 to 60% is right there in front of you. Now you have to make it profitable. Like it has to succeed, which was where we try and come in. But yeah, it's a way better, and you're in control of it. In the stock market, you're counting on
Well,
other people.
and
to
I
do
was
it.
just about to say that, actually, is having control of your own destiny
Yeah.
is a real thing, and particularly if you've got an education behind you, which is what we're offering to our clients, is that education, because applying that makes all of the difference in the world. That's where you go from that 10 to a 40% return.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are real numbers. I agree with that math. That's and right now reality says 2.5% of people are going to achieve that. But if they get the right education,
Oh, it could be a whole
Like-
lot higher.
95% of people could achieve that.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing. It's right there. Yeah.
So the acquisitions is one side that I want to focus on, but I've also been through a sale.
Right.
And I know what it takes to get a business to a marketable place, and I know how to market it.
Yeah.
So we also want to help people that are looking to sell, not just looking to buy.
Right.
Right. So what would you do to help them there?
Yeah.
Set up the structure and stuff first, or just take the role of a broker and just help them sell it?
I'm going to say no to the broker for a couple of reasons. First off, it's not my intention to market it for them.
Right.
I want them to have a product that is easily marketable,
Something you would buy.
something that I would buy. And
So wait, just go a little more detailed on that. So, because you're also now like a coach and you can help them build that, right?
well,
Like, you know
ultimately,
what's needed.
yes, I would like to talk to somebody about 2 to 3 years prior
Right.
to their intended selling date.
Right.
So that we can systemize it, put the playbooks into play, increase the profit percentage, make that business attractive to a purchaser,
To a scrutinizer like you.
to somebody that knows
Yeah.
what they're talking about.
Right. An educated buyer.
Yeah.
And then at the time of sale, then start to help them to prepare the promotional materials like a sim or pitch decks and things like that, how to present it, not who to present it to. That's the job of the broker.
Right.
But how to present it, how to get the best multiple for the profit that they've got.
It's kind of like, it makes me think of like, they're a trial lawyer and you're helping them build the case. because in the negotiation, they got to argue the case to the jury, we'll say, right? So they got to get that kind of forensic in it and be able to say, like, no, this is this because this is this. And like, they got to be able to validate the number.
Well,
If you
exactly.
can't validate the number, then you get a low ball offer.
But it really comes down to presentation.
Mhm.
And doing a good job means the difference between a 4.5 times or 2.5 time multiple.
Right.
On the same profit.
I think what I like about what you said was kind of brushed over a little bit. You want them 2 to 3 years before they sell, which tells you how fast the program works to get them to that position. You didn't say, well, I want to talk to them 10 years before they sell because I need that runway. It's no, if wherever you're at, if you're looking to sell, depending on how bad it is in the beginning, but it doesn't take that long to get it to a position where it actually is valuable to the marketplace.
See, Dennis, it's not because it takes 2 to 3 years to get there. It's because that buyers are looking at 2 to 3 years with financials,
Right.
and they want to see that predictable over time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's get that profit up to 15% in year 1 and 18% in year 2 and 20% in year 3. That becomes a predictable
Pattern.
model
Right.
that a buyer is going to pay more for.
Yeah.
Especially when they go to the lender, because the buyer may not know kind of the difference and might just be like, wow, this is great. It's super sexy. I want to buy it. And then they go to the lender and the lender's like, I got to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And then the numbers show that. Lender's like, okay, we'll do this because they're competent.
Well, if you have the relationship with the same banker over and over again, they're going to start looking at your deals and being like, okay, this 2.5 multiplier doesn't make much sense anymore because you're not really risky.
Right.
That's the hope.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
They're so
They're
tied to
bankers.
a set of rules that
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter, even if they trust you. you
Well,
know.
but private money goes a long way too. Like there are people out there with private money that want to buy businesses as well. That's not always done through banks.
And you're right about that. I just don't want to pay those interest rates.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is people with money, like for example, that acquired your mortgage brokerage.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've got other clients that are being looking at by bigger firms who are going, I want to buy this. I don't need to worry about bank leverage. I'm going to buy this and we're going to assimilate this and apply what we got from this business to all the other businesses.
Yeah.
And turn that around too. So like as you're building this up and the relationship with the banker might not be able to adjust, but the market's going to look at the opportunities and go, I want that one, not that one. I'm going to look at 100. I want these two. Same thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the entire journey we've heard, you went from insurance agent to moving to another agency to going, hey, now I'd like to be my own boss, own a business, to sold for a really good profit, to now buying businesses, to business coaching. If you're talking to someone who's a business owner that was in the same shoes you were in, like, in the first 5 years you own the brokerage, you're talking to somebody in those shoes in any business. What would you say to them to get the light bulb to go on to realize they can take that same path you're taking? Like, what would you, because they don't see that. They're just like, that's not achievable. Ron was lucky. I don't know. He opened a magic bean box and something happened. Like, what would you say to them?
For Zanny business education is the magic bean box.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
The reality is too many people think in terms of revenue, not in terms of profit. They don't know how to make small adjustments and make big impacts.
Right.
And
good point. And
the reality is that enough small adjustments can move the needle so dramatically that, an increase of 10% revenue is an increase of 10% profit typically, but it's only $1 on that $10 that you made. Whereas an increase of 10% profit can be 100%
right
higher
profit
number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally agree.
So the reality is what would I say to them? Focus on the other number, not the top line. Start at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing with it. Our toolbox teaches to all the clients, right? I think it's actually one of the reasons we end up having a lot of inquiries from clients who've gone through the program, sold for multiples, saying, hey man, now that I've done all of this, I want to come on board with you as a licensee, and I want to do this exact same thing for other people
Right. Yeah.
because they see the value of it. So you have
Yeah.
a little bit of a list of people that are already saying, hey, now that you're doing this thing and getting access to the toolbox, they want to do exactly what you're doing.
Well, as a previous client, the camaraderie and the connection that we make with other clients of yours is great. And that's just going to multiply with the more coaches you bring on. And just being able to connect with different coaches and say, great, you focus on blue collar. I'm more of a white collar background. I need a little help with this. We're going to be able to share experiences, what's worked, what hasn't.
Right.
And I think that group or that team that we're building is going to be really amazing.
Invaluable. Okay, so now you meet somebody who's a business coach or mentor, advisor, whatever word they're using. Likely things aren't going as well as they wanted, right? Because they're probably struggling keeping clients, which comes from lack of results. So I guess question one, what would you say to those people? And then follow-up question, someone looking for a career change wants to get in the industry. What would you say to those people? Like, why did you pick this? And I don't say this kind of self-serving.
You've looked.
Yeah, we have a passion for, this is about business owners succeeding. So when they're not succeeding, it's an issue. And we need more coaches to be able to help them succeed.
So this week I've looked at a couple of coaches' Facebook pages or LinkedIn pages, and I'm reading through their description, and it's written by AI first off, and I can tell that in a second.
A few minutes, yeah.
And they're saying the same thing, we're going to help you with your sales, or we're going to give you the right mindset. And none of those are results driven.
Right.
And ultimately, I think that becomes because they don't know how to do the results driven coaching. And that's why I would recommend this all day long.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like you have two types of people. You've got someone who went through swim classes, had to become a lifeguard, and he's good at it. I mean, he's a decent lifeguard as long as they don't have to swim out more than a certain number of feet to bring somebody in, versus the guy who's also a lifeguard who now has the buoys, who has the helicopter access, who's got the boat, the jet skis, all of that stuff.
So jet ski's a good one.
Jet ski's a great one.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The ability to actually go out there and do something with it. Or the mechanic who has 3 wrenches, or the guy's got the full toolbox.
Yeah.
So like a lot of those guys, they have the passion. They want to go save people, but they just don't have the toolkit.
Great analogy. My daughter's a lifeguard, actually.
There you go.
There you go.
It's like I planned this.
It is like you planned it. Well, let's be fair. She was a lifeguard. She started early. She's not any longer, but she's a nurse, so she's still saving people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, like having those tools available, it's one thing to have the tools available, but it's another thing to have the skills to know how to use them too. And learning how to use those tools is the difference between life and death.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, of the business. And currently out there, over 90% are dying.
Yeah, there.
So they need help without question.
I've been talking, we're doing some renos on our house, and
which is fun.
Oh my God. it can be challenging, but we've had a ton of contractors through there. And how many contractors that have said, man, I hate what I'm doing.
Really?
Not because I hate the work that they're doing. But the interesting thing here is when you're a one-man show, if you're not doing, you're selling. And if you're selling, you're not doing. So that really takes your billable hours down dramatically because you got nobody there to support you.
Yeah.
And not being able to see a way to find your way through that is so challenging.
Yeah.
Being a one-man show, and none of them think that they can sell their business.
Right.
And right now they're probably right.
And their accountants are reinforcing that, well, don't even try because you won't be able to sell it. Yeah.
Well, we've heard that from a client who sold for a pretty good dollar that you're.
Yeah, he's about to.
Never going to sell.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, I was thinking that as we were talking about this, that we have to stop calling ourselves coaches.
Yeah.
Because I think for the most part, the experience in the coaching industry, and if you look at different coaching licensing organizations, a lot of that comes back down to your job as a coach is to dig out the answers from the client, which, I mean, I've got a counseling degree. It's pretty much like a guy who's been told how to counsel, but has never taken a counseling degree. And I found that when I've been working with clients anyway, they're not looking for somebody to say, how do you think you should handle this? They're looking for somebody to say, this is how you handle it. Like business coaching has gone in the way of counseling where we're more in the line of, well, if you're going to be a football player, you better know how the guy can tell you how to be a linebacker, how to be a quarterback, how to be the defensive end. You better know the game.
Because you won't make it through one game and coach is like, you're cut.
On.
Well,
Yeah.
and do the drills.
Yeah.
Get the practice in.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the difference in the education side of things, right? The education is sitting here and going, well, so one side of it is, Greg, you need to go to the gym and lift the bench press. When you
Right.
don't go do that and you come back and tell me how you did. What'd you push? How'd you do? How many reps did you do? Versus going in there and saying, hey, Greg, this is how you bench press. This is how you set your hands. This is how you set your elbows. This is how you set the weight. This is how you do the first couple of reps for your balance. This is the weight you should put on. This is the reps you should do to get to a result. I think that's the difference between a coach and an educator.
Yeah.
An educator walks beside you to show you how, but doesn't lift the weights, where a coach tells you from the sidelines, hey, man, you're doing a great job, or
Right.
pick up your socks, you're not doing a great job.
Right. I think actually sports is the best analogy because, pro athletes or like Olympic athletes, they're looking for how to do it. They don't, they like,
Sorry, I'm
just-
laughing because I'm going, imagine coaching a team the way business coaches coach business.
I know that's why I'm hesitating in my words because I'm picturing that. I'm just like, I'm trying not to laugh, but the point is you take a pro sports team and if the coach is trying to win a championship and they're like, so how'd you feel about that? And how you feeling? And how, like, really, we got to go win a game. They got to know how to do it. And if they don't know how to do it, like they might be great people, but they're gone.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Well,
it's too competitive.
And another thing that I know that we really work on in this business is learning how to use your numbers to make good, educated decisions. If you know the numbers, if you know how to use them, the decisions can still be yours.
They will still be yours.
But you know how to make them well.
Yeah. So our producer likes to throw a curveball question to us at the end that were unexpected, but this is a good one. It's usually kind of a funny question. This one's a little more serious, but I think a really good one. She asked, what legacy do you want to leave? So
yeah, I've actually been through that a lot in my own head over the last couple of years and realizing that 99.9% of us are going to be forgotten after our grandkids.
Right.
And so then I went, what's my legacy?
True. Great grandparents, we
don't remember them, right? And so then I have often looked at my life and going, would I pass the John Candy test? And for me, the John Candy test was when John Candy passed, there wasn't enough people. There was too many people to get into the funeral. He never had a problem with people showing up. They had a problem with capacity. And I look at my life and I go, when I pass, is it going to be a situation where my kids don't even want to show up because they don't remember me and dad was an asshole? Or is it I've impacted so many people that the facility for the funeral isn't big enough to handle the people that want to show up and say goodbye?
That's cool. Sorry, when you said John Candy test, you're a sports guy?
I am.
Different John Candy. I mean the actor John Candy.
No, I know. But I think there's a clip of Joe Montana in the playoffs with the 49ers. And everybody's like, it's like the 2-minute drill. So it's the last drive of the game to win a Super Bowl or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are like, we know we're going to win for one reason, because Montana walked in the huddle and said, like, instead of like, okay, guys, he hey, I think that's John Candy in the stands. And everybody like, what? I thought that's what you were going to say.
No, not at all. Well, but it's also what motivates me in what I do for the business side of things. And I tell this to people, when I bring on a client, I want that client in 5, 10 years, whatever it is, when the relationship with what we have finally ends, if they got to see me on the side of the street, in a supermarket, wherever, they want to rush up and shake my hand, not find a way to hit me with their car.
Right.
And so it's at the end of my life, have I had enough of those kind of relationships that when people found out that I've passed, that the impact has been so much that they can't get everybody in the room.
Yeah, it's cool.
As for me,
just say ditto. We're fine.
yeah. What he said. Honestly, and I've talked about this a fair bit with my spouse, my children. My children are my legacy, and not for the reason you think. The reality is a lot of people, if mom and dad have done well, have grown up to assume that everything's going to be handed to them. My kids grew up when I was still struggling. And even after I wasn't, they learned that doing for themselves was very, very important, to the point that they won't even ask for help now. I'll offer, but they won't ask for help. They need to figure out how to
Yes.
do this on their own. So educating my kids and my grandkids and making that legacy go for multi-generations is
That's
just,
cool.
it's massive.
Yeah. Pass down the lessons.
Pass down the lessons, exactly.
That's awesome.
And you want to make sure your dogs remember you because you talk about them a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Well, our
Good.
horses.
Yeah. Dogs are thinking about me probably right now. What the heck? Hey, the garbage truck. Dad, the garbage truck. They're attacking. Yeah, for me, it's big passion about small business success rate. It's just they're just getting slaughtered. The deck's stacked against them.
Mhm.
They need help. And that's why we're licensing coaches. We got to help tens of thousands if we can. And that means a lot of coaches and it means a lot of help. And they need help. They need someone fighting with them.
Yeah.
Someone fighting with them, not for them.
With them.
Yes.
Yeah, they got to earn it.
Well, all I know is I can only rescue so many people with one life raft.
Right.
But if I've got 100 people with a life raft, I can rescue a whole lot more.
Ron, my man,
Thanks, Greg.
that was awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the More Profit, Less Stress podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform and leave a comment or review if you're feeling generous. To learn more about us and what we do, check out our website. Until next time, take care.